So what do you mean by density of energy states? So basically it is defined as the number of available electron states per unit volume in an energy interval E and E plus D. If you take a small energy interval between E and E plus DE, where D is very small quantity compared to the energy E, and this density of state is denoted by G of E, that is the usual notation, G of E into dE. So this represents the number of energy states present in the small interval E and E plus D. So that is called as density of states. So I'll repeat, this density of state is the number of available electron states per unit volume in a small energy interval. So that energy interval is defined as E and E plus D. So that is the small energy interval. So in case of solids, the energy levels of electron will spread out over a range called energy band. According to band theory of solids, the group of energy levels are observed in solids. So that energy band consists of large number of energy levels. So we have to find the density of state, that is number of energy state in small energy interval in that energy band. So this energy band is due to the presence of large number of atoms, and they produce electric field, and that will produce the large number of energy levels to form the energy band. That is the explanation from band theory of solids. I think you will study that in the solid state physics. So band theory of solids will recall this particular concept in the band theory of solid. So each energy band consists of large number of states at each energy level that are available to be occupied by the electrons. So each energy level can be occupied by 2 electrons according to Pauli's exclusion principle. 1 electron with upspin and 1 electron with the downspin. So the density of state G of E is defined as the number of energy states available per unit volume per unit energy centered at E. We'll take the energy E, around that energy E, how many number of electron energy states are there per unit volume, per unit energy, we have to find out. And that is called as density of state, G of E. Let us consider the derivation of this G of E step by step. So derivation for expression for density of state. So according to definition, the number of states per unit volume between the energy levels E and E plus D is denoted by G of E into D. So according to definition, I can mathematically write the density of state G of E into D as the number of energy states available between E and E plus D divided by the volume of the material, volume of the solid considered. So this density of state is a function of energy. According to this definition, density of state varies from the energy of the electron. Okay, as electron energy varies, the density of state also going to vary. Now consider electron as a particle in a box problem, quantum mechanical particle in a box problem. If we solve the particle in a box problem quantum mechanically, we know that one-dimensional potential well of width L, in that case, the allowed energy levels, energies for the electron, not energy level, energies for the electron is given by E is equal to n square h square divided by 8 ml square, where n is the quantum number. It can take the values from 1, 2, 3, etc., where h is the Planck's constant, m is mass of the electron, L is the width of the potential well. It is a one-dimensional well, but in solids, the electrons are experiencing the three-dimensional potential well. Okay, it is a three-dimensional space. If you consider a solid, it's a three-dimensional material. So then electron will experience three-dimensional potential well, so that this n will be three-dimensional number. Okay, and L will be replaced by the three-dimensional volume. Okay, so that we will consider in the next slide. So already I have told you, electrons are distributed in three-dimensional potential well. So this is the energy of electron if it is confined in a single dimensional potential well, one dimensional potential well. If you consider three-dimensional potential well, the same expression can be generalized as E is equal to h square by 8 ml square, into nx square plus ny square plus nz square. And here nx, ny, nz are the quantum numbers. They are non-zero positive integers. They can take the values from 1, 2, 3, etc. Okay. Similarly, h is Planck's constant, m is mass of the electron, L is the size of the potential well. Okay, so length, width, and height of the potential well. If it is equal, so L square, L represents the dimension of the potential well. So here nx, ny, nz are non-zero positive integers, and each set of nx, ny, and nz indicates the permitted energy levels and energy value. Okay, so nx can take 1, 2, 3 values, that is positive integers it can take. So it shows that energy of the electron is quantized. So discrete energy levels are possible. So let us take this nx square plus ny square plus nz square equal to some general number n square. Okay, arbitrary number n square, and n square depends on nx, ny, and nz, which represents a sphere of radius n formed by the points nx, ny, nz with nx, ny, nz as a 3 mutually perpendicular axes. So this equation represents the equation of the solid, where nx, ny, nz are variables. N is the radius of that solid, sphere. Okay, not solid, it is a sphere of radius n. So this is called as Fermi sphere. We call this particular sphere as Fermi sphere, where n is the Fermi momentum. Okay, in the previous class I have told you the radius of the Fermi sphere is equal to Fermi momentum. Now let us take what is the lowest energy value for different values of nx, ny, nz. If you consider the lowest energy value is observed for nx, ny, nz equal to 100. Okay, if you put nx equal to 1, ny equal to 0, nz equal to 0. If you put that, you will get E is equal to h square by 8 ml square. Okay, so that is the lowest energy value. H square by 8 ml square is the lowest energy value. We'll consider this particular expression later while considering the derivative of dE. Consider ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ we will consider this particular point. Now, if you consider this Fermi sphere, this will have the coordinate axis nx, ny, and nz, and the distribution of energy levels constitute a Fermi sphere. Okay, and we know that nx, ny, nz are positive integers. They cannot take negative values. Therefore, the above equation represent 1/8 of the sphere called octant, as shown in this figure. So only this octant, that is 1/8 part of the sphere, will have all nx, ny, nz as a positive integers. Okay, so because this is nx, ny, nz, if you go in reverse direction, it will be minus nx, minus ny, minus nz. So if you consider the part of the sphere for which all nx, ny, nz should be positive, then you can have only 1/8 part. Okay, this unshaded part. Okay, so shaded part is the remaining part. This unshaded part represent 1 octant of the sphere for which nx, ny, nz are positive integers. That's why the electrons are distributed in this Fermi sphere only. Okay, this is a graph representing the energy leveled representation in momentum space. So this octant will carry all the energy levels for which nx, ny, nz are positive integers. Okay, so this sphere can be further divided into many shells. So this octant can be divided into many shells. Each shell represents the particular combinations of quantum numbers nx, ny, nz. If you take nx equal to nx, ny, nz equal to 100, that represent lowest energy level. So which is centered or which is towards situated towards the origin of this coordinate system. Then the higher energy level are situated the outward direction. Therefore, it denotes the particular energy value with particular radius. So in this space, unit volume represents one energy state. Okay, we consider that the energy levels are distributed in the form of shells. okay, within this octant. So those shells are representing each energy level. One shell represent one energy level. Okay. And each energy level is having different combination of nx, ny, nz, because according to Pauli's exclusion principle, they cannot have same set of quantum number. They must be different. So one possibility is 100, then 110, then 111. Like that, different quantum numbers can be possible. So those quantum number, set of quantum number represent one energy state. In that energy state, two electrons can be accommodated according to Pauli's exclusion principle. Next, we'll consider the number of energy value, allowed energy values that we have to obtain. What is our aim? Our aim is to obtain the expression for density of state, that is available number of states per unit volume. So let us take the number of allowed energy values and we represent that as NEDE available within the sphere of radius n and n plus dn is obtained by finding the energy difference between E and E plus D, because E is a function of n. We know that energy of the electron is a function of quantum number n. Okay, n can take different values. So therefore, the available energy states within this range n and n plus dn. This is representing the radius of the sphere. Within that sphere, what are the different energy levels they are available for the electrons? That is represented there, that is related to energy E of the electron. So it is nothing but the finding the energy states within this sphere of radius n and n plus dn is equivalent to finding the energy levels lying between the energy between E and E plus D. Okay, so within this sphere we have to find the number of energy levels that is equivalent to energy levels lying between E and E plus D. Okay, so this statement represent that particular meaning. So it is equal to the product of 1/8 of the volume of the sphere between the two shells of radius n and n plus dn. We know that different value of n represent between different energy state. Within that octant, there are large number of energy state having different values of n. If you take this particular volume, that volume represents the total number of energy states present between the range n and n plus dn. Let us take two spheres, okay, two shells. One shell is having the radius n, another shell is having the radius n plus dn. Within that range, how many number of energy levels are present? That we have to find. Okay, and we know that each value of n represents one energy level. Okay, by taking care of that statement, we can find out what are the total number of energy levels present in the range n and n plus dn. Okay, so this diagram represents the representation of n. So n is a vector which represents radius of the sphere, and n is a function of nx, ny, and nz. We know that n square is equal to nx square plus ny square plus nz square, which represents a sphere in momentum space, and we call this n as Fermi momentum, okay, or quantum number. In this case, we call it as quantum number. Later, if you study the Fermi Dirac distribution function thoroughly, you'll come to know that this n is also equivalent to the Fermi momentum. Okay. Next, let us consider what are the number of energy levels. Therefore, the number of available energy states within one octant of the sphere of radius n within the small strip of thickness dn. Okay, I have considered the sphere in the range of radius n and n plus dn. Within that small range, how many energy levels are possible? That is equal to the volume of that range of sphere, so volume of that strip of the sphere. So therefore, n of E into D will be equal to 1/8 of the volume of that strip of the sphere, that is 4 pi n square into dn, where 4 pi n square represents the surface area of the sphere, into dn is the thickness of the strip. Okay, area into thickness, that will give you total volume of that strip, okay, of the sphere whose radius is lying between n and n plus dn. 1/8 is appearing because n is positive, n must be positive. Therefore, 1/8 of the total sphere we have to consider. So volume of 1/8 of the sphere is 1/8 into 4 pi n square into dn. So next you simplify it further. So if you simplify, so you will get a pi divided by 2 into n square into dn. So 4 ones are 4 twos are, so you will get 2 here. So n of e into d will be 5/2 into n square into dn. And I can split this n square as n into n dn, because later we need this particular expression to derive the expression for density of state. So finally, the number of available energy states within the range of radius n and n plus dn is equal to 5/2 into n dn. Okay. Now we'll try to express this n in terms of energy, because we need the expression of for number of available states in terms of energy, but we have got the expression in terms of n. Let us convert this n. We have to eliminate this n, otherwise we have to substitute for this n in terms of energy. We use the energy eigenvalue equation in 3 dimensions that is already given, that is E equal to n square h square divided by 8 ml square, where n square is nx square plus ny square plus nz square gives the sphere of radius m. It represents the sphere. So you rearrange this equation to get the expression for n square. You will get n square is equal to 8 ml square E divided by h square. So this is representing the radius of that sphere, square of the radius. It will be equal to 8 ml square E divided by h square. Therefore, the expression for n will be square root of 8 ml square E divided by h square. So to the power half means it is square root. So expression for n is obtained, but we have to obtain the expression for dn, derivative of n. So differentiate this equation. Otherwise, you can differentiate this equation to get the expression for dn. Differentiate this with respect to n here and with respect to e here. Okay. So you'll get a 2n dn is equal to 8 ml square divided by h square into d, because n is variable, e is variable. They are functions of each other, where m is constant, l is constant, h is Planck's constant. Therefore, you will get derivative of n square is 2n dn is equal to 8 ml square into de divided by h square. So you try to cancel this 2, you will get 4 ml square into de divided by h square. We have obtained the expression for n. You can substitute here. We have obtained the expression for n dn. Okay, for n dn, we have obtained the expression. So you'll get n dn is equal to 8 ml square de divided by 2h square. I will divide the equation by 2. You will get n dn is equal to 8 ml square divided de divided by 2h square. Substitute for n and dn in this number of energy state equation. So substitute for n, substitute for n dn. N dn we have obtained just now, and expression for n is observed in the previous slide. You substitute them. So you'll get the number of available energy state in the range E and E plus D is equal to 5/2 into n. N is square root of 8 ml square E divided by h square. That is 8 ml square E divided by h square to the power half into n dn. N dn is 8 ml square de divided by 2h square. Simplify it further. You will get, you can take this half outside. So this is 8 ml square E to the power half divided by h square. Keep it as it is. 5/2 into half into e to the power half. I will take this e outside. You will get e to the power half, that is square root of e, into 8 ml square divided by h square de, that is kept as it is. D is taken outside. Okay. So just look at these two expressions. So this is 8, these two terms, 8 ml square by h square to the power half. This is 8 ml square divided by h square. If you combine these two terms, you will get 8 ml square divided by h square to the power 3/2. This is to the power 1 to the power half. The total power of this term will be 3/2. And if you combine these two, you will get 5/4 into e to the power half into d. So this is the number of available energy state in the range E and E plus D. So this is corresponding to the octant of the Fermi sphere. Per unit volume, what are the number of energy states you have to find out. Okay. So next, according to Pauli's exclusion principle, two electrons of opposite spin can occupy each state, and hence the number of energy states available for electron occupancy is given by twice the number of states we obtained. Okay. So this previous expression is the number of available states corresponding to the electrons. So in each state, two electrons can be accommodated. Therefore, total number of available states for the electron is equal to twice the number of available states, because in each state, two electrons can be accommodated. So multiply the previous equation by 2. That will give you 2 into pi by 4 into 8 ml square divided by h square to the power 3 by 2 into square root of E into D. Then you rearrange, you simplify it further, and I will take this L square to the power of 3 by 2. So this will be L cube. H square to the power 3 by 2 is H cube. Okay, if you take the product of powers, so 2 into 3 by 2 is 3. So that's why H cube you will get pi by 2 as it is. So 2 and 2 2s are, you will get pi by 2 into 8m to the power 3 by 2. I will keep it as it is into e to the power half into d. Okay, simplify it further. So L cube represents the volume of the solid. So length, width and height are taken to be L. So L cube represents the volume of the cube. So I can replace this L cube by V. So total number of available states is 4 pi V, okay, divided by H cube. I have rearranged this. I have taken this 4 outside, 4 to the power 3 by 2. You will get 4. Here there is a term 2. So 8 divided by 2 will be 4 here. So 4 pi V into 2m to the power 3 by 2 divided by h cube. So this same h cube is kept here into e to the power half into d. So small rearrangement of this term 8 to the power 3 by 2 is done here. Okay. So then finally collect all the terms properly. You will get the number of available states in the range E and E plus D is given by 8m pi V divided by h cube into square root of 2me into d. Okay, so 2me, square root of 2me is taken here, m is taken out, you will get 8m pi v. Okay, so one term 2m is taken out, 2m to the power half is merged with this e. Okay, so just you observe this particular step. If you have any doubts, you can clarify it yourself. Okay, this is simple steps, mathematical step, you can understand. So this represents number of energy levels in the range E and E plus D. Okay. So next, finally, the density of state for free electrons in the number of energy states available per unit volume. Okay. So per unit volume, how many number of energy levels are available? To find that, you take the total number of available states divided by total volume of the solid. Okay, so that is given by G of E into D equal to N of E into D divided by V. Okay, that is representing the total volume of the solid. So this represents the total number of states per unit volume. Okay, so if you take this N of E into D expression divided by V, if you consider that, you will get the final expression for density of state as G of E into D is equal to 8m pi divided by h cube into square root of 2me into d. Okay, so this is the expression for density of states of electrons in the three-dimensional metals. Okay, so if you draw the graph of this density of state G of E versus E, you will get this particular curve, because G of E is directly proportional to square root of E. Okay, so it is not linear curve, it should be square root of e to the power half. So this is the curve you obtain. And at absolute zero, no energy levels are occupied above the Fermi level. So when E equal to EF, all the energy levels above Fermi level are empty at T equal to 0 Kelvin, that we have considered. I have explained in the previous class. The energy levels are occupied by certain probability at a T is greater than 0 Kelvin. So some of the energy level can be occupied above the Fermi level also at finite temperature. Okay. So basically at absolute zero temperature, the curve is going like this and sudden step-like function is observed. Sudden dip is observed. No energy levels are occupied at absolute zero above Fermi level. So all the energy level below Fermi level are occupied at absolute zero. At a T equal to certain finite temperature greater than 0 Kelvin, the shape of the curve will take this form. Okay. So while discussing the Fermi-Dirac distribution function, I explained. So the Fermi level will have the probability of occupation equal to half. So Fermi level is the most probable energy level for the electrons occupation. Okay. So always at least one electron will be occupied in the Fermi level. So always the probability of occupation of the Fermi level, even at T equal to finite temperature greater than 0 Kelvin, it is equal to 50%. Okay. So this is the curve representing the variation of density of state with energy. So remember, density of state is a function of energy. It varies with energy. Okay. So low energy states are having less density of state. So density of state increases as a function of square root of E. Okay. As square root of E, it increases and reaches maximum, then it starts to decrease. Above the Fermi level, it decreases because according to Fermi-Dirac distribution function, all the energy level below Fermi level are occupied, above Fermi level are not occupied, they are completely empty. So if you want to find out what are the density of state in that small range dE, you take the volume of this strip in that small range dE. So volume of the strip represents the number of available states, that is representing density of state. If you want to find out what is the total density of state G of E, you can take total volume under this curve. Okay, so total area under this curve. Okay, so that will represent the total available density of states for the electrons. So this is the derivation of expression for density of states. So Fermi energy I have already explained. So let us complete that. So basically Fermi energy is explained using this particular diagram, this figure. So all the electrons are occupying the lower energy states at a T equal to 0 Kelvin. So each state carries 2 electrons according to Pauli's exclusion principle. If you accommodate the electrons, if you distribute the electrons in that method, you will get one energy level at which all electrons are distributed. So this is the topmost energy level, the highest energy level which is occupied by the electrons, above which the energy levels are empty. So this highest energy level occupied by the electrons is called as Fermi energy. So this shows that all the energy levels below the Fermi level are completely occupied. The energy levels above the Fermi level are empty. So this basically separates the completely occupied level and unoccupied levels at absolute zero. Okay, so this is true at absolute zero. At finite temperature, some of the electrons may be excited to the higher energy state, but we define the Fermi level at absolute zero. So finally, what is the expression for Fermi energy at absolute zero? That is given by EF is equal to h square divided by 8m into 3n divided by pi to the power 2 by 3. This can be derived simply by taking the energy of density of state. Okay, so that is done in statistical mechanics. You can refer to statistical mechanics book. Okay, in fourth semester we have studied that. Here h is Planck's constant, m is mass of the electron, n is number of electrons per unit volume of the system. Okay, if you know the density of electrons, concentration of electrons, you can find out the Fermi energy because all other quantities are constants. So basically EF is directly proportional to n to the power 2 by 3, n to the power 2 by 3, where n is the electron concentration. So large number of electrons means the Fermi energy is going to be greater. Okay, so it is directly proportional to n to the power 2 by 3. So this is how the Fermi energy can be calculated using the concentration of electrons. So problem may be asked on this expression. You may ask to find out the Fermi energy by giving the the electron concentration. Okay. So this Hall effect we'll consider in the next class.